All right, well, consumer spending up, and that helped stocks more than just tick up. But is the president's pick to lead his economic team about to, well, knock both back down, especially when people get a better idea of Alan Krueger and who he is? A guy who once proposed that you pay an extra 5% tax when you buy stuff at the store, sort of like a big old value-added tax, but without swapping it out for any other tax. So, Deneen Borelli says that our world economy would pay the price if Alan ever got his way. But, you know, I'm wondering, Deneen, if all of a sudden he could. Obviously, by picking him, the administration is sending a signal. He could be a fan of that approach, right?
Yeah, I think this is business as usual, and the American people shouldn't think any different than that. Remember all the excitement behind Bill Daley when people thought that he would be someone that could help Obama be more business friendly, when in fact that is not what happened. We have so many regulations on businesses today, the banking industry, Dodd-Frank, Obamacare, the EPA. You even had Jamie Dimon, the CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase, questioning Ben Bernanke, what's with all these regulations? You know, you're killing jobs. These regulations are killing jobs and it's killing our economy.
You know, we always assert a great deal of importance to who these economic officials are and where they come from. And there's no doubt Krueger has a great, economic pedigree background. He was the chief economist of the Labor Department during Bill Clinton's stewardship. But can he move the needle at all?
You know, I don't know about that, because let's look at what he has done. He did a study that concluded that for unemployment would not go down if you raise the minimum wage, unemployment would not go down if you raise minimum wage. That's a government mandate. Businesses can't afford higher prices if they can't raise their prices to pay these people more. So that's a misnomer. The other thing is that he did a study that concluded that if you remove tax incentives from the oil industry, that production would not go down. Production output would not go down. We all know when you tax more, you get less of it. So this is what we're looking at now.
Well, he might have a more sympathetic ear in this administration now because the oil industry's been making money hand over fist. They don't need the relative chump change of these oil subsidies for one reason or the other. But I am curious, Deneen, about what you make of this value-added tax. Because a lot of Republicans are fans of it. A lot of conservatives are fans of it, just not as a pile-on, not as a swap out. In other words, remove the income tax, replace it with a VAT or something like that. He does not appear to be saying that. It would be just an added revenue raiser, at least from my understanding of his work on this.
But when you add more taxes on anything, people are going to spend less money. We're already taxed enough.
Would you be open for a swap out? Take the
I'm
income out?
open for a flat tax.
Okay.
That's where I'm going with this. You know, a VAT tax, it's a regressive tax. You're going to harm those who cannot afford to pay more. Warren Buffett can afford to pay more, with a VAT. But the people who are unemployed or in a poor household or fixed income household, they can't afford it. We already have high food prices, high energy costs.
So those are just compounding. So Absolutely. I don't think it's an immediate issue for anyone to worry about anyway.
Well,
but the president's going to make his big announcement on jobs after Labor Day. What do you expect? What do you think we'll see?
Well, he's very late to the game with that. And I think what he should do is implement regulatory reforms. If you look at what the EPA is doing and how there are like 5 new regulations that are going to cause job losses and higher energy prices, that's where his focus should be. And that is something that he could do now. He doesn't need Congress to do that.
You don't envision that, do you?
That's what I would like to see happen. And that's what, the American people are really paying attention to this stuff. So it's important for our economy and for the growth of our country to do away with these regulations.
All right. Deneen, we'll see.